Okay, we are live and I got a special guest for y'all today. Who's on the line with me today?
Hey everybody.
I got
It's Keith.
Yay, I got Keish today, y'all. So I'm gonna give it a couple minutes and the notification just went out and I already see a typo in my title. So hopefully it don't throw everybody off. But welcome you guys to Soap Corner Talk, where we going to talk both about the young and the restless and the bold and the beautiful for November 4th. And I know we got a lot to say today. Am I correct, girly? Hold on, I can't
Yes,
even.
ma'am.
Hold on. Oh, there they are. I'm like, dang, what happened to my chat? Okay, I see them all in here. Yeah, my little chat box on my system, it was like nothing there. And I'm like, I know I should have some folks up in here. All right, we're going to quickly jump into Y&R. And I don't know, what did you think about today's episode, Keish? I mean, it's still a continuation of this whole Sharon thing. We did have a little bit of movement on Claire and Kyle until Summer decided to crash the party, and then this little connection between Billy and Sally. Where you want to go first,
Yeah.
girl?
We can do Sharon and that drama.
What you think about it, girl? Are you getting tired of it? It's been dragged out.
I mean, I don't know. I guess normally in Soapland they do try to wrap up storylines within a matter of a couple of weeks. But I don't mind the fact that this is, supposed to be a whole murder mystery thing that they're dragging it out a little bit. I'm just tired of Daniel and Phyllis hanging out in Sharon's coffee house just to go in there and harass her. Like, if you're this suspicious of this woman, why are you at her place of business?
Right.
Like, why are you giving her business? If she was specifically going there just to say what she said to Sharon, which was, to basically try to throw her off or let her know that they suspect her, I get it. But they actually go in there and patronize her restaurant. So that has just always annoyed me ever since their drama started. But I can't wait to see like how this all wraps up, because I still have the feeling that Sharon didn't actually take her out. Of course, she committed some other crimes there, but I don't think she was the one that actually ended Heather's life. So
yeah,
I just know this is going to end up affecting. I feel like it's going to end up affecting Summer and Chance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw some stuff in the spoilers about that. Coming up, I think the end of this week, where Summer's gonna have some issues in regards to Chance and her brother and stuff like that. And I'm like, I get it. After the whole thing last fall, because I know we were rooting for it. I don't know. I know I was. I don't know about you. But Summer and Chance last fall,
of course.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Who was it that really wasn't rooting for them? I don't know.
I don't remember anybody not really rooting for them. I think Bree was just kind of like, if it happens, cool. If not, whatever.
Okay. But they had those couple scenes. We was excited about them. They had that weak shower scene, and then the rest of the time they just have been bland. They really hadn't given them too much of anything, and so now it seems like they're trying to put Summer back in this orbit. Trying to come in between Kyle and Claire, which was obvious in this episode.
Yeah. I don't understand why Y&R is refusing to just invest in Summer and Chance, because I mean, as far as what I've seen on social media, people actually like them together. I know that there's still, a little bit of a Skyle fan base out there, which is understandable because, they've been in each other's lives pretty much since they were born. But I think Chance and Summer actually have a big fan base too, and it's like this show. It's almost like you think they're about to give it to us, and then they put Connor Floyd on recurring. So then we barely saw him like through the spring.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the last couple of months, I feel like he's been back on screen more, especially now that he's a cop again. So it's like I don't understand why they just won't allow them to have their own storylines, like center them in their own storyline. They haven't had really one storyline together. It's just been outside storylines, and then when they're together, they talk about what's going on in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And they just refuse to leave Summer alone and to stop putting her. It's like they're regressing her back to Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why. Like, let Kyle and Claire have their own story and leave Summer alone. Let her and Chance do their own thing. I don't know why they keep using her for Kyle's romantic stories.
Exactly, because she was the one that had an issue with him and Audra. That was that was the biggest reason why she was pushing for the custody thing.
Because, and it didn't make sense.
Right, and right, because she thought that Kyle was back with Audra again. And then, of course, they got rid of that storyline. They made up. They came up with an agreement. Everybody's happy now. And now that Kyle is building a relationship with Claire, now here we go again, just like you said, where Summer is, there's no reason for her. It's none of her business what was going on upstairs.
Right.
You saw her purse there. So what?
Yeah, and I'm guessing what they're probably going to end up doing is having Summer say that she doesn't think it's a good idea because she's Harrison's nanny. I think that's probably the angle that they're going to come from, and it's just annoying because why is it that Summer is the one every time Kyle has some type of new love interest in his life, they make Summer act as if she's jealous about it, or she always has something to say about it. But when they put her with Chance, Kyle was happy for her and supportive. So it's like they have to make Summer the bitter ex. Mm-hmm. They have to make her look like the bitter, jealous ex every time, and I hate that they do that with her.
Yeah. She was kind of annoying in that moment. Granted, you came back to get your phone, you happened to see her purse there, then she's yelling, Kyle?
Yeah.
Claire? And I'm like, just get your stuff and go.
Get out, yeah.
And then she make it like, well, I saw Claire here, so I got worried that something was wrong with Harrison. She's not a doctor. They would have called you and say, hey, the baby is sick. Our son is sick, something going. If it ain't got nothing to do with Harrison and ain't nobody call you, get your phone and leave.
And get out, yeah. We know it ain't had nothing to do with her thinking that maybe Harrison was sick. That was an excuse she used.
Of course. Now, let's talk about what went in that bedroom, because I was a little shocked about Claire, because remember, she really hasn't had any romantic relationships. I think she's still supposed to have her V card, correct?
I don't know about that.
I thought
have they talked about that before?
Yeah, she talked about it with Victoria.
I must have completely missed that combo.
Yeah, and so when she, they started making out and got upstairs, and that's why he kept asking her, are you sure? Are you ready for this? That's why. Mm-hmm. And so, but the thing was interesting is that she took the lead and ripped that shirt open. I'm like, you sure you haven't?
Yes, she did.
I'm like, are you sure you haven't done this before, Claire? We've heard that on the other soap earlier this year, okay? So, I was like, Claire? Maybe she saw something on a movie or in her wildest fantasies that she wanted to play out or something. I was shocked by that. And I think Kyle was too, the way he was sitting on that bed looking like,
Right. And you know what? Because Victoria knows that she, still has her V card or whatever. Mm-hmm. They could have come from that angle if they wanted to give Kyle and Claire some type of like angst or have some type of opposition to them being together. Mm-hmm. Because Victoria and Cole had both already kind of expressed some type of, I'm not sure about Kyle. I'm not sure about that guy kind of feeling when she thought that maybe Claire, was seeing Kyle or was interested in Kyle in that way. Like, she was a little reluctant about that.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have used, like, the parent angle, or even Victor. Victor likes to be controlling.
Right, exactly. Instead of using Summer, you saying?
Yeah, instead of Summer, they should have went that direction. Just leave Summer alone and let her enjoy herself with her fine, sexy man.
I mean, actually, I was kind of excited about this scene because we haven't had nothing good in a while, right? And so I'm like, she didn't rip the shirt off. Oh, we finna get a little something. And then Summer had to bring her narrow behind. I'm like, every freaking time we get a scene, either we get a commercial or somebody interrupts.
She was being a blocker.
Yeah. Keisha crazy. And then once it was all over, Claire came back downstairs talking about, I should get ready to go home. It don't feel right. I'm like, how you gonna let Summer mess that up for you?
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, Claire, y'all could have picked up where you left off. He sent the girl home.
Yeah. I love Summer to death, but she did really annoy me in that scene.
Yeah, and then Claire talking about maybe her coming over here was a sign that it wasn't the right time. No, she was just being disruptive. They ain't got nothing to do with you.
She was being a hater.
Exactly.
She was being a straight up hater.
I know, right? What'd you think about Billy and Sally? Are you interested? I don't think I really got your take on it.
I don't know. I'm indifferent about them. It won't bother me if they do start dating or they hook up. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't bother me if they, just decided to be friends. I don't really care. I mean, I would rather Sally be with somebody different, but I mean, other than Adam, there's really nobody else on there to pair her with.
No, and I've been saying this on the weekly chat. Do you think that maybe they should have kept her over at Bold?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I 1000% feel like she should have went back to Bold. Her best, my favorite, I guess, storyline for Sally was when she first joined, and her and Summer had their little beef. They were rivals at the time, and what was the one character? He was Kyle's friend from New York. It ended up being related to them. Theo, when he was on there. Like, I liked her back in that era.
Okay.
But, I don't know. I feel like after they put her with Nick, and I didn't mind her and Nick together, but I don't know. It's like after they put her with Nick, it's just kind of been like...
down.
Blah.
Yeah, blah. Yeah. Because, I mean, they even tried her with Jack for a minute, remember?
I hated that. Yeah, I did not like that at all.
I'm like, why y'all bring that girl over here for this? And then she had been, she's known as, like, the protege of the OG Sally Spectra from Bold and Beautiful. And y'all bring her over here, and she could barely keep a job. She's still filling in for Chelsea. She had a business in interior design that failed, and I'm like, what are y'all gonna do with this girl?
Yeah, she definitely, like what we've gotten in the past couple of years, the stories that they've been giving her, which. The baby, when she lost the baby, I mean, I think that right there won her that Emmy, which she deserved it. She did really good on that storyline. But other than that, like, I feel like she would have better stories on Bold because that's her wheelhouse. She's fashion. She's in fashion. She's in LA. She's not in some small town America, trying to do a fashion line. I don't know. Yeah. I just feel like she would be better used over there. But I know that I think there were issues or something behind the scenes.
You know what they could do, Keish? If they, and this is just me making up something in my head. I know it's not going to happen. But with everything that's going on over at Bold, because obviously, and we'll talk about that in a minute, there's so much craziness with the writing on today's episode. If Hope wanted to continue her line. Why not have Sally be the designer and stick it to Steffy? Her and Steffy had always been at an impasse.
Yeah. Well, they actually ended up being friends before she left the show. Because remember, Sally was designing for her.
But remember, she screwed over Forrester in the end when Ridge was designing for her when she was faking with Wyatt and Flo and all that stuff. Remember?
Yeah, but I felt like that was more about Wyatt than anything else.
But they fired her, remember, when they found out that the whole illness was fake and that she
Yeah,
was...
Yeah, I do remember that. But I just mean generally, I feel like they did that whole storyline because it was about Wyatt breaking up with her. And not necessarily because her and Steffy, just couldn't get along or they fell out.
Gotcha.
But I agree with you. I mean, it would be kind of cool to bring her back, and maybe she's the designer for Hope, although Hope didn't want to give her a chance. That was how she ended up designing for Steffi's Intimates line, because Hope didn't want her on Hope for the Future.
Yeah, and a lot of it probably had to do with Liam, didn't it? Or no? I don't remember that part.
I don't think it had anything to do with Liam. I think it was, she just generally felt like she couldn't be trusted because of remember when Coco was on the show and she had Coco spying, but she didn't realize she was. Yeah, I think that was what Hope brought up. She just didn't feel like she could be trusted in general.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of wish that she was back over there, because even though, Courtney Hope did win that award this past summer or spring when we had the Emmys, and that was due to the Ava storyline. Outside of that, I think she had her best storyline when her and Adam was in a relationship. But outside of that, I really don't see anything of any substance that she has since she was on the show. In my opinion, yes, she hung out with Theo. Then she tried to get with Jack. That didn't work. She ended up with Adam. That was probably the peak of the character on YNR. And then they threw her into that triangle with Nicholas. And then a baby came out of that, and he was still... It was just messy. Yeah. And then they finally... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, it's almost like they just don't know where they want to settle her.
Right. I agree with that.
When it comes to a job or a man, it's like they just keep bouncing her around like a pinball. And it's like, why can't you guys... They could have... I feel like they could have allowed her to be successful with the interior design stuff.
Yeah, but then that failed. Her and Chloe got into that business, and then boom, it was gone too, and then Chloe left.
Yeah, I feel like they could have just let that alone and let that be her thing instead of snatching it from her.
Yeah, so, and then looked like he wanted a nightcap. Sally was like, yeah, not yet. So we didn't get anything from that either. But then Billy...
I thought she was going to change her mind and open her door real quick and tell him to come back.
Girl, they ain't giving us nothing. You hear me? I mean, even though I'm not really interested in this whole coupling between Sally and Billy, even if they gave us a little romance, I would have been like, okay, let's see what they gonna do. You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Yeah.
And then Billy got the text message from his mom talking about his time running out. I wish somebody would just tell Jill, and I hope it comes out in the upcoming week or so when she get to town, about how Lily was the one that colluded with Victor over Odyssey 7. Nobody's bringing that part up. All she knows is that, Lily betrayed me. How did she betray you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like it'll come out. It almost has to. Because that was a huge, I guess, kind of like turning point for what Victor was trying to do.
I agree. And I mean, I'm wondering if that's... Because remember he said, don't worry, I'll take care of Lily. Because he wants Lily out the way. And that would be one thing that would get Lily out the way when it comes to Jill. Whether he gets the company or not. Victor. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I could totally see Victor saying, well, she was the one that gave me that info. just very
Mm-hmm.
nonchalantly saying it.
Exactly. So, I mean, maybe that's what he's holding. That I mean, and after that, she has nowhere to go. I mean, once
Yeah.
Victor dropped the bombshell about Odyssey 7 to Jill, and of course she's not going to be working with the Newmans, only place she can go back is to her family company at that point. She's done.
Hmm. Yeah. And
So,
I think the bomb will take her back. I don't think he would,
of
you
course,
know, he's not going to
yeah.
close the door on her face, which I understand that. That's his sister.
Yeah, he would take her back. I would honestly believe that he would, because he's been asking for her to come back to the company anyway all this time, even up until, her telling him, she wasn't going to attend his wedding, So I would
Yeah.
think that
She
he,
was being ridiculous.
oh my God, I hate that way they're writing Lily. When she came back from, when Crystal Khalil came back from maternity leave earlier this year, and they made this whole thing about, oh, stay tuned for a new and different Lily. I didn't know that they were going to write her like this. She's a straight Delulu right now.
Yeah. It's one thing to go this hard for a company that you have some type of stake in, ownership in, something like that. But, and I get it. I get that she's accomplished a lot. Like, they've all said it. Jill has said it. Nikki has said it. They've all acknowledged that she has done great things at Chancellor.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not about to ruin relationships with my family and friends because I just want to be back in the CEO position when I have a family company that I can go work for or work with
Mm-hmm.
that I actually have some type of stake in.
Exactly. And she can be easily on the executive seat, whether it's CEO, CIO, CFO, whatever Devon decided that, he wanted to put her in. And she wouldn't even have to go through all this grief.
Yeah. She's doing too much.
I know, right? I gotta laugh before we move on to Bowl at Phyllis. Phyllis was trying to gaslight the hell out of Sharon.
She sure was. Phyllis is crazy.
She is, and she thinks that I'm just gonna scare her into a confession. Now, what did you think about her getting this restraining order? Because Nicholas told her, well, that might make you look guilty, and you don't want to stir up Phyllis by getting a restraining order.
I guess I don't understand why that would make her look guilty if she feels like she's being harassed by Phyllis and Daniel. I mean, they're showing up to her restaurant and accusing her of things. I think I thought it was reasonable for her to say, well, I'm going to get a restraining order on you if you don't leave me alone because you keep coming in here harassing me, accusing me of murder.
You know what? I can see where you're coming from for that, because at this point, you're accusing somebody of a crime, which, like you said at the beginning of our call, it's a possibility that she might not have done it. I honestly believe that maybe, and I could be wrong, maybe she just had a normal blackout, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's something about that blackout and that octopus that's throwing me off, because if I'm going to clean up a crime scene, I'm going to get rid of the weapon. She acted like she didn't even know what the weapon was.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why I was like, wait a minute. And so obviously they showed us that way after the fact, because the original scene happened at the second or third week of September, and they didn't show us the octopus until almost a month later. So I'm like, why would Sharon leave that there, right there on the mantle, if she got rid of everything else?
Yep.
That didn't make sense. And then she blacked out and didn't realize, because what we saw and what Sharon saw is that the girl was still alive. When she woke up, she was gone.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. I think being that this is November sweeps, I honestly think that there's something else going on here. We might get a shocker. Maybe it's somebody we never expected. Lucy and Daniel have alibis. They were together at the movies, and she was doing community service, and he was with his family at society. So we know it's not them, right?
Yeah. Yep. Although it would have been a great story had it been Lucy.
Yeah, like Luna.
Yep.
Pull a Luna or something, trying to, I mean, she was trying to frame her mom, but, it was a different type of framing. But yeah,
Yeah.
I can't see it being Luna just because, I mean, anything is possible. They can write this the way that they want to. But I'm wondering if it's somebody we least expected, or if
Hmm.
this was, somebody that's just gonna pop up like, oh my god, you know what I mean? So
Lucy's mother would be another. That would have been another good
yeah,
twist.
yeah, and who
I
knows?
mean,
Maybe they're hiding this character out, like bam,
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
all right, girl, let's switch it over. We gotta talk about Bold. Oh my god.
Hmm.
They replayed the part in the parking lot, which it's just no continuity in the writing. It's just all over the place to me.
Hmm.
What do you think? And I know you had a
Um,
lot to say.
yeah. I mean, the way this whole story in general was put together is just. I don't like it. It's obvious what they're doing, and
Hmm.
I hate that they. I say that Hope does a lot of things that is self inflicted. Um, all of this, in my opinion, started when she started fantasizing about Steffi's husband, and then when she decided to try to go after her husband. And everybody found out about it, of course, because she kissed him. And instead of them allowing Steffi to fire her based on that stuff, or even based on her line failing, which they've talked about it. They've talked about this girl's line failing since what, April,
March.
March.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, whenever it was that Thomas left, basically.
Mm-hmm.
They've shown us that the numbers aren't there. Carter has said it multiple times. We've heard Steffi talking about the buyers don't want the designs. We even heard Eric and Rich both last week say she was given plenty of time to turn things around. I think it's time for her line to go. But then they do this whole thing with this accident with Finn, and they base her firing on that accident.
Mm-hmm.
There were plenty of other reasons why Hope could have been fired, but of course, they had to find a way to turn Hope into a victim of a situation that she caused, and make Steffi the bad guy, and have Steffi fire her based on this accidental thing with Finn, when she fell onto him on the desk. And that's what they're basing this whole thing off of. Let's just forget about the fact that her line was failing anyway, and we're just going to talk about the fact that she had this accidental encounter with Finn. This is it's just so forced and ridiculous. And even from the aspect of everybody keeps saying, you can't make things personal, Steffi. You can't make decisions based on your personal feelings. This entire show has been that. Every single one of them have done it. Brooke has done it. Rich has done it. Eric has done it. Hope has done it herself. They did it to Thomas last year when they fired him. And Steffi gave Hope the opportunity. She let her make the decision on whether or not she wanted to bring Thomas back. And why didn't Hope want to bring Thomas back? Because her husband, Liam, didn't want them working together. And Steffi was going to support it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So now they're basing this storyline. They're making this whole thing about Steffi making things personal, like they're making a big deal out of it, when they've all made things personal in the past. So that's how you know that they are really just constructing this storyline for Hope to be a victim and for Steffi to be the bad guy in this. Because any other time, the whole personal decision, the personal feelings thing wouldn't even be talked about. Or they would have just let her fire Hope because her line was failing. But that, of course, it can't be that easy.
Well, I
This girl has always got to have an excuse.
Well, I gotta give you applause on that one. I mean,
It's just so frustrating. Like they could have written a storyline about this without, making up stuff or forgetting the history of the show in general.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, even in this particular episode, her not taking accountability for the fact that you put on lingerie in a open public office in that building where everybody from interns, and I think Jay brought this up, interns, Eric could come through there, Ridge, Steffy, Zende, anybody could have walked in that room. You didn't lock the door. And then you try to make it look like with Carter, like, I thought you were coming right back. Okay, maybe if you had to check the location or call him to say, look, when are you be back? I even said this last week. When are you coming back? Or I got a surprise for you, or maybe I can meet you at the house. And obviously they wrote this a certain way to continue this whole string of thought when it comes with Finn and that. And even Finn shouldn't have been in that office. Steffi's office is across the hall. When does Steffy ever be in the design room?
They did explain that though. He said that whoever, Madison, the receptionist, somebody told him that Steffy was in the design office, and that's why he went in there.
Yeah, that still was kind of sloppy in itself. I mean, both Ridge and Taylor was in the CEO office before she even got back to the office. I mean, and Steffy was at home, so how would that girl know that she was in the design office? Steffy came, remember, because Steffy and Finn was at the house. And
well, yeah, but she left before Finn, so she had to have gotten to Forrester before he did. But Finn was going by what this girl told him, which was Steffy was working in the design office.
Okay, hold on one second.
To take it in there.
You guys, this is Keisha. This is not Bree. It's Keisha. I know some of you guys are newer here. Keish has been, working really hard and doing things, so sometimes she's not as often as she usually is. Work comes first. But this is Keish. So, I just...
Hi, guys.
Alright, go ahead, girl.
I don't know, just... this show just annoys me with the way that they like to conveniently forget things or rewrite different events or incidences, and even everybody other than Taylor acting like Steffy is being irrational for not believing Hope after what Hope did. Like, even that right there, of course she's going to jump to that conclusion because of what just happened, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then when she asked Hope, okay, well then what was going on, and Hope just standing there looking goofy, what does she expect Steffy to think? Do they really think that she's going to trust her? To trust her word and say, oh no, that's not what I was doing. Like, so people just, I don't know. Like, even Ridge, her own father, who I can't stand that man.
as Bree call him Pad Cold Poppy.
Yeah, the fact that Steffy has to basically beg him and convince him to side with her is infuriating. Because as you see today, even though he Friday told Hope that she had to go, but as you see today, it's like he's being
a waffler.
Yeah, he's being very flaky about it.
Right.
And asking all these questions, and it's like when it was his kids getting fired, there weren't any questions. He didn't, there wasn't any of that. There was no hesitation. He was fine with it. But when it's Hope, he's asking all kinds of questions, and like I was saying in our chat earlier, he has always handled Hope with kid gloves, and he's always been more harsh towards his own kids than he has been about her. So it's just very annoying to watch that play out. So it's like Steffy just needs to, if I were her, I would just be done with that company. I would almost be done with my dad, because I shouldn't have to beg you to support me when you so easily support your girlfriend's daughter.
Right. Yeah, and like it was almost like Ridge was is afraid of Brooke, what she gonna do. And obviously when we saw the scene happen over at Brooke's house, she was shocked because she could not believe that Ridge sided with Steffy.
Yeah, Brooke has always been like that. Remember when she threw the tantrum when it was the funding for the Intimates line over the funding for Hope for the Future, like who was getting the bigger budget. And that was probably one of the first times that Ridge had ever supported his daughter. and picked Steffi's line over Hope's line to get the bigger budget, and she threw an absolute temper tantrum. I mean, screamed at the top of her lungs, not only at him, but did the same thing with Steffi.
Mm-hmm.
She was so upset about that. You picked your daughter over mine. And it's like, why do you expect him to always side with you and to pick your child over his own? And it wasn't like he, didn't justify why.
Mm-hmm.
It was justified because Intimate's line was the more profitable line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with
that. Yeah, it's just Hope could have stood there in front of everybody and told Finn to his face, I think I'm better for you. You need to break up with your wife. I'm way nicer to you than Steffi will ever be. Whatever. I will love you better than Steffi ever could. And Ridge will probably still stand there and be hesitant about wanting to get rid of Hope. Or everybody would still act irrational about Steffi not wanting Hope around her. Mm-hmm. Literally, the girl can do no wrong in anyone's eyes.
So what do you think about when they came in and obviously, she was whining and crying to Carter on the way there. And then when she got to Brooke's house, she was still hesitant to tell them how this all occurred in the first place. So when she finally breaks it down and they realize that, well, you were in lingerie on top of Steffi's husband, I could see how that was mistaken. I gotta give Brooke a little credit, but she still says, like Carter said, why don't you just tell them why you were doing it? Even Carter was like, why don't you just say something? And she is refusing to be like, no, we're going to do this my way. And I'm like, this is what got you in the same situation with Carter. She wanted to do the direction of how this whole thing is going to go. And I mean, Carter is like, well, you don't have to, I'm a grown man. I pretty much take care of myself. Don't worry about me. And she was like, no, I got to protect you. And do you have to protect him or you just want to keep this a secret?
Right. I mean, they kept Carter around after the Quinn affair, so
exactly.
I don't think that he would get fired because he was involved with Hope.
And I was saying this in the chat too. Okay, just say for example she goes and say, okay, here's the God honest truth. I know what you saw, but I was not expecting Finn to come in there. I was expecting Carter to come back there because we have been seeing each other for a little while now. I don't care about trying to get the attention of your husband. That was all about Carter. That was a mistake. Finn found me in that position. What can they, I mean, unless there's a morality clause in their contracts or something, which I doubt it because everybody is fraternizing with everybody on this show that work there. I don't see a problem with them saying that. And what, they gonna fire them for being in a relationship? Then Brooke and Ridge need to be gone for being in a relationship.
Exactly. And my thing is, so they keep saying, well, she already assumed or is already suspicious of why you're so supportive of my line. But regardless of whether or not Carter is going so hard for Hope's line, it's not his decision at the end of the day.
Correct.
What they want to do where the line is concerned, because the bottom line is the line is still failing.
Right. Yep.
So regardless of if, he's advocating for her line, it's still failing. And literally 2 weeks ago, he was okay with cutting it. So they don't have to continue to fund her line if they don't want to. If they make that decision, as a CEO team to just get rid of it. And they are justified in doing that. So I know a lot of people are saying, well, Carter needs to sue. He needs to sue on Hope's behalf. And it's like, okay, what would be, based on what? What would be the grounds? Yeah, because all they have to do is show, okay, these have been the numbers, the profits, or I guess debt that the line has shown for the last 7, 8, 9 months. So, they have justification for it.
Yeah, well, it's two things working against them that wouldn't fly. And I mean, sometimes this is when I crossover, a little bit of real world into TV land. California is an at-will state anyway. So according to the rules, according to the rules, when you're in at-will state, an employer can fire you at any time for any reason, whether you have one or not. So they have a reason. So number one is at-will state. Number two, there is a reason because her line is failing. Now, do they have to fire her is the question, or do they just end the line and repurpose her to another project?
Yeah, I feel like had the stuff with Finn not happened, not even just the accident, but the kiss, which I don't think anybody knows about her coming on to him in the dressing room unless he told Steffy off screen. But yeah, even with those other two things, because who can kiss their CEO's husband and think that they're not going to be punished for that?
I mean, and like we said, we can kind of play around on both real world. I mean, even if you were in the office of, if I was to go, and I work remotely, but if I was to go to corporate and take my significant other into a conference room and we start getting it on in there, and the CEO walked in, whether it was her husband or not, it's inappropriate behavior. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, granted, everybody on the soap land crossing back over the soap land, of course they do that in the CEO office. But, I mean, that's something that just wouldn't fly. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic with this, and I just don't like the way they wrote this. She's looking like a whole, I mean, the crocodile tears were insane.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, girlfriend, you need to take the L on the fact that you made a bad choice by what you did in the design room. That's how
multiple bad choices.
Multiple bad choices. Even before Finn came in that door. I mean, it's obviously Steffy had issues with that situation. But this wouldn't have been an issue if you just had to carry your butt over to Carter's house.
Right. But she did say maybe I shouldn't go back to Forrester.
Yeah, what did you think about that?
Working there. I mean, that was probably the most logical thing Hope has said in the last several months. Because why do you want to work somewhere where you feel like you're being bullied? Which I know that I'm a Steffy fan, but I even objectively speaking, I don't feel like Steffy bullies her. I feel like Steffy is direct, and she says what she feels to your face. But at what point did she bully her? Because she told her about her line failing, or because she told her to stay away from her husband? Like, come on. The girl has she's been lusting after this woman's husband for months and made moves on him. But Steffy is the bully? That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, because that's why they have polarizing opinions on this show with the fans. Because we do know that there are Steph fans and there are Hope fans. And the Hope fans are going to feel like Steph is bullying her. The Steph fans are going to be like, well, what do you expect? The girl kissed her husband and she's been coming after him. So it's kind of like two sides looking at it as being true, depending on where you are in confirmation bias. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I guess I just don't like the writing of it. It's just crazy to me. And like, one of the words that you used in the chat was forced.
Yeah, it's very much forced. This whole situation was forced. Yeah. Even the like her fantasizing about Finn, like I would have totally understood Hope doing this just for revenge, not having any feelings for Finn whatsoever. She just wanted to try to ruin Steffy's marriage. That would have made sense. What didn't make sense was that she was, I guess, starting to have feelings for him. And like I was saying earlier, she said that she thought that she could get him to see that she was better for him than Steffy. And it's like, you just spent almost a year telling everybody that would listen that you did not want a man with a divided heart.
Right.
Finn was the worst guy for you to go after if that's what you wanted. because even had she succeeded in breaking up that marriage, because let's say not necessarily that Finn, cheated on Steffi, but maybe she did something to make it look like something happened between them, and Steffi just left and didn't, because she didn't believe Finn. What do you really think that you're going to get from Finn? Because you know how obsessed that he is with his wife.
Right.
You really think you would be even worse off with him than you were with Liam?
Exactly.
So even that whole situation didn't make sense. To me, what they should have done, which I guess maybe this all comes from Thomas not being on screen right now, but months ago is when Carter should have started dropping the seeds of, hey, we need to start expanding, and working with Hope, trying to figure out how to get her line back on track, them getting closer, and then building up to this relationship. Not just, the one day Carter decides that he's in love with Hope, or falling in love with her. And he has been, apparently, since Rome. That right there killed me.
Yeah, they really jacked me up on that, because at that time he was in a relationship with Katie.
Right.
It's an overlap there. I mean, they really, really did. And you might not have been on those calls those weeks we talked about it, which good. I'm glad to get your point of view on it. But yeah, that whole thing where they made it had him looking at her all googly eyed, and they edit the heck out of that particular scene, because we got part of Thomas's shoulder and the back of his head on that scene, but they focused it on Carter, looking at her all in amazement or whatnot. And I'm like, are y'all serious? That happened in the end of June of 2023.
Yeah.
At that time, he was newly in a relationship with Katie. So he was with Katie, but thinking about her niece? Is that what y'all trying to tell us?
Right. I don't understand the choice there. I don't get why they
went back that far.
That. Yeah, that made absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Unless, and I kind of brought this up about 2-3 weeks ago, unless this is a situation that they really are trying to scrub the whole Thope thing. People have been wanting that thing back for so long between those two, and was hoping he'll come back, and when he comes back it's going to be over, and Are they trying to retroactively annul the idea of Thope?
This wasn't the way to do. I don't feel like they need to do that, though.
Right, you would think.
There were other ways for them to, if they never plan on putting Hope and Thomas back together again, I feel like there's other ways that they could have proceeded with this story. It didn't need to be something to where they're trying to erase Thope. Like, that's unnecessary. We all saw it happen.
Right, exactly. Now, and even we had Brooke talking about it when she was talking to Carter at one point, talking about, and that whole thing with Thomas was a mistake. And I'm thinking, like, how long is a mistake? 7 months? Because from July, when they had that awakening, from July all the way up until March 28th, you mean to tell me that whole 7-8 month period was a mistake? I don't think so. And then they tried to bring Thomas back to say, I'm getting married, I'm marrying Paris, it's over between us. And then, they threw that stupid ultimatum, which of course she did not accept. And of course that didn't work with the fans either, because the fans was like, oh no, she still love her. I mean, she still love him, he still love her. So I'm wondering if they just want us to forget about it by doing this. I mean, it's a crazy way that they're doing it, but it's just, I don't know, the writing it's just all over the place to me.
Yeah, it would have made more sense to me and they didn't even have to put Thomas with somebody else. If she didn't want to be married and he did, then that's just what it is. Like, he wants something that she is not ready for. So that's where things end. Them fast tracking an engagement with Paris didn't need to happen, because Hope was still steadfast in the fact that she didn't want to be married. So I don't know. And then the whole thing with taking Carter's feelings back to Rome, just that was just stupid.
Yeah, that was dumb to me. When back in the summer he was on Ridge and Steffi's side with the numbers. Yeah, the numbers say
Yeah,
otherwise. Hope
yeah,
it's not good. And then it was no indication whatsoever that he was interested in this girl until the second or third week of September.
right.
They just did a pivot right after they started filming for season 38.
Yeah, and why not just have it be, a newfound, oh, I'm interested in her,
Right.
and the same with Hope. Why couldn't it just be something new? Why did it need to be retroactively back to Rome that he's been having these feelings for her?
Yeah.
And even for her, like if you want us to think that Hope is done, then just have Hope, talk about what happened between her and Thomas in dialogue, that she did care for him, she did love him, but he wanted something that she wasn't ready for, and things just didn't work out, and she just thinks that was that, and she's moving on with her life. Like, I don't know. I don't know why it's so hard for them to just write storylines that would be a little more realistic, that would just naturally happen, instead of trying to make us believe that Carter has been in love with Hope for over a year.
Yeah. It makes no sense. It's a big.
And I swear to you, I swear to the soap guys, if this woman tells Carter she loves him within the next couple of months, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Well,
Because she made Thomas wait how long?
Well, listen, girl.
Thomas waited.
That Wednesday spoiler when they get intimate with each other on November 6th. Somewhere along the line, it says something about the two of them professing their love to each other. So I hope that's not the case, because it's like y'all really trying to push this for whatever reason. And my question is, what does Carter think he's going to do with Forrester? Sue?
That's the only thing I can think of.
Or, but for again, unless they come up with some type of, I don't know, weird storyline or something about maybe Steffi or Ridge unintentionally doing something to sabotage Hope or whatever. Or, what else do they have? Her line sucks. The number reflected. What are you suing for? And she was they could easily use that against her, even though everybody in that office does it. Saying, hey, even if it wasn't for my husband, she's in a public office, getting undressed wearing lingerie. Whatever, they got options to use against him, unless he's been looking at the numbers and then he come up saying that they've been fudging numbers or been skimping on the, how they who was that they did that with? Tara Locke, when when they found out that she was stealing money from her own company or something. If they come up with something like that, hey, I've been knowing what's going on and y'all been doing stuff underhanded. Unless they write something like that. But again, that's a pivot.
Yeah. I feel like what Carter's going to try to do first, because he keeps referencing, he said it like 2 or 3 times in the last couple of weeks, that Ridge is his best friend. He said it today. Ridge is my best friend. He's co-CEO. I'm going to talk to him. And again, Carter Walton, the one who keeps saying Steffi needs to stop making things personal, loves to bring up the fact that Ridge is his best friend, and he should be, he should have his back because that's his best friend. So I think maybe what's going to happen is he's going to go to Eric and Ridge and talk to them about Hope being fired, and maybe he's going to try to get them to push Steffi out.
Yeah, but the only way that can happen is if Ridge, because he looked like he's on the fence, and if he's trying to save face with Brooke, if he decides to overrule and stand on the same side as Eric, because with his 20% and his 37.5%, they could overrule Steph.
Oh, for sure. They do it all the time, and I could 1,000% see Ridge going back on what he told Steffi, that he would support her, just based on the way that he was talking today, trying to make excuses for Hope, questioning pretty much everything that Steffi was saying. And then also being worried about Brooke, because Brooke is going to come in there like a Tasmanian devil and start, fussing at him about making Hope leave. And she's going to go after Steffy. So Steffy basically has Carter against her, Brooke against her, Eric apparently.
Katie.
I think in the spoilers, it says that Eric and Steffy are going to go, head to head, or they're going to have an argument.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, of course, Katie will, but Katie has no say. She's an employee and she works in PR. And then Ridge, who is always, flaky and on the fence. I could totally see them basically forming up and pushing Steffy out. I could totally see that happening. And you know what? I kind of hope they do it, because I want Steffy away from that company. I want her to start her own thing. And it would be even better if she even stopped referring to Ridge and Eric as her father and grandfather, because they clearly never support that girl. Never support her. She always has to beg for their support.
Yep. Well, girl, it's going to be an interesting one to see how this all unfolds, because, if you got Eric coming at her, Brooke coming at her, that half of the executive team is split then. And then, well, actually, no, because he's COO, so you got 3 against 2 right now, and that depends on how stable Ridge's support is going to be.
Right. And then she got to deal with her cousin also, confronting her about cutting the line. I'm sure RJ will have something to say about it, but I didn't see him in the spoilers. So
we haven't seen RJ in a minute.
Yeah, it has been a while.
That's interesting. So maybe they giving Joshua Hoffman a little bit of a break, since he's been on most of the year. Oh, man. All right, girl. It was a good one. I appreciate you.
No problem. I had fun.
Yeah, and make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you're notified every time a video is posted. And until the next one, I am T.
I'm Keish.
And we will see you guys later. Bye, Soapies.
Bye.